Hi there, we're a little bit late for today's live, sorry about that. Had a bit of an internet glitch. Luckily I came back online just in time, 5 minutes late unfortunately, sorry, but I'm here. So welcome, my name is Tanya Uester from my page Botanicamy, or my nickname Dr. T as some people call me. So today we are going to start talking about a beautiful fir oil. And there's so many properties of this beautiful oil that we're going to need to get through. It's going to be quite a long one, so hopefully I'll finish by past. Unfortunately, because we started late, we might go a little bit into overtime today. So if you do need to rush off, remember you can always go and catch the replay either on my YouTube channel or in the feed, obviously on my Instagram, IGTV, or on my Facebook page. Hello David van Niekerk, I can see you've just joined, and then also Shirley, hello, so welcome. Let's get started with today's Facebook Live. Continued education on essential oils. Obviously this is a passion of mine, very geared towards wellness and natural support, and how essential oils can support your body, in fact, because we are designed to heal ourselves naturally. It's just we do need a lot more support than we think we do, because of all the poor lifestyle choices that we make continuously. So from the foods we eat to the high levels of stress we experience, collective community with the mind, not sleeping as soundly as we should, not getting to bed in time. All these things actually affect our daily wellness, and over a long period of time, obviously these seemingly insignificant decisions that we make on a daily basis actually very heavily affect our future health. So when we start thinking about preventative health and taking small steps on a daily basis, then obviously these rituals, which we might see as really just taking care of ourselves, which it is, good self-care. Hello Sonia, I can see you've also just joined. Basically these small steps compounded over time is going to assist our bodies to start getting to where we are healing naturally, all right? So where we definitely get sick less often because we're supporting our immune systems and our adrenals because we're getting enough sleep. We're decreasing toxins by using plants, food, as well as other natural alternatives that our bodies are really good in recognizing. Hello Gerda, I can see you've just also joined. Welcome. So basically, yes, let's get started with this beautiful fir oil, because little did I know, although I use it for emotional support, there's a lot of physical benefits from this specific Siberian fir. And more than that, you're going to learn some beautiful beauty tricks as well. So let's get started. I can also see Kobus has just joined. Welcome. I think I've said hello to Gerda. Second shout out Gerda, in case I didn't mention your name. There we go. Alright, so Siberian fir is incredibly high in the chemical constituent we call bornyl acetate. Now that is a big word for a lot of people, but it's a beautiful molecule, so it's probably a word that you need to go and remember because it's got absolutely amazing properties. And although I'd say the chemical compound is found in other firs as well, like Douglas fir for example, cypress, rosemary, even frankincense and juniper, it's definitely in its highest concentration in the Siberian fir. I can also see Shelly has just sent me some hearts. Welcome Shelly, I'm glad you could join because she was actually off rushing to another meeting. So I'm glad she can join in and learn today. Also Razan, welcome. Alright, so basically if I haven't given you a shout out yet, just go and put a hi or something in the comments, otherwise Facebook or Instagram doesn't show me that you're there. Hello Shirley, I can see you've just logged in as well, and then let's get fired off with bornyl acetate or Siberian fir. And I think this is definitely an oil that I started using a lot more in the last week as I started preparing the information and preparing for the class. So gathering the information has actually led me to using the oil more often, and I can definitely say that it's made a huge impact. So let's look at what this beautiful chemical constituent, bornyl acetate, is actually doing for us in the Siberian fir. Hello Rina Armstrong, I can see you've also just joined. Welcome. Alright, so let's get started. You can definitely see my diffusers pumping out beautiful fragrance out there in the back. Hello Deborah, all the way from the UK. Welcome to today's lesson. And basically, remember when we're breathing in these molecules aromatically, they have a very powerful effect on the limbic brain because they're inhaled through our nasal passages. Our olfactory nerve sensors actually pick them up. And these chemical messages are then sent to the brain, and basically the brain then tells the body either to relax or to chill out or to become highly stressed or to sleep. So that's basically how the essential oils work. I can also see Jerry's just logged in. Yes, there goes the nickname Dr. T. Thank you, Jerry. welcome. And hi, Bev. I can see you've also just joined. Welcome to today's lesson about Siberian Fir. So the bornyl acetate is a very incredible molecule, and I get really excited about this because remember, I'm all in it for the science, number one, but also about using tested grade essential oils. So this means they are backed by research and science. There's actually peer-reviewed articles, sometimes a lot of clinical trials as well, showing that these essential oils have got a beneficial supportive effect in our bodies. You can also see Arti has also just joined. Welcome. So bornyl acetate is one of those that are actually going to really show you what is better about using something that comes from nature versus something that is synthesized in a lab. Now, bornyl acetate is what we call enantiomer. So that's like left hand and right hand, okay? So there's two molecules. There's a left hand molecule and a right hand molecule. It's also L and R. Now, when you're producing it in the lab, you're going to be producing L and R in 50-50 ratio. Now, here's the problem with that. When you're using a synthetic fragrance or candle, for example, of specifically Siberian fir, the bornyl acetate is one of those things that we call a sex pheromone, especially between insects and plants. Now, plants make them to attract the insects. The problem is that we don't want the enantiomer on our bodies, for example, because then we're going to be attracting cockroaches and beetles and mosquitoes and all kinds of random things to us. We don't want that necessarily, okay? So unless you're a plant, then obviously I suppose you can go for the synthetic. But if you're human, I'd suggest going for the real tested grade Siberian fir, because then it's actually only the one enantiomer that's in there, produced by nature, by the plant, okay? And basically it's not going to be the one that's going to be attracting the insects to us, okay? So that's a very good reason why you need to use things that are the real thing versus using things that are man-made. All right, so very interesting. That I find that incredibly fascinating, and obviously that is the science behind this beautiful essential oil. There's obviously a lot of health benefits physically as well as emotionally that are connected to this specific essential oil. But I think before we get into the nitty-gritties of sort of the top uses and where I'm going to suggest you use this beautiful essential oil, let's look at what chemical constituents, or basically what should we call it? The main things are that people use them for, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail about the things that I suggest you use them for, because they have really benefited me as well. So the first thing is that it's incredible for the musculoskeletal system, so for the bones and for your muscles when you have overworked the gym. And I know there's a lot of people on this very nice 21-day exercise, Move, Share, Grow. It's ended, but we're all carrying on with our really good exercise on a daily basis, and we're habit stacking. So Siberian fir is actually really good for achy or discomfort in joints and muscles. It's also incredibly good for poor circulation. So definitely one of those essential oils you want to keep around, especially if you're someone that struggles in your toes or in your fingers, your appendages basically, if there's not a lot of circulation going around. Also a really good support system for respiratory. So if you're thinking about the environmental situations and you're someone that reacts a little bit more severely to, for example, dusts and pollens and those kind of things, Siberian fir actually is a decongestant. So it's an incredible essential oil to have in the diffuser because it's going to open up those airways and just make you feel a little bit better so that you can breathe a little bit easier. So really good essential oil for that. Also body odor, because it's got an incredibly strong fragrance. So it's got a pine forest smell to it. So it's you walking in the forest, benefiting from those mood molecules, but more than that, also smelling beautifully fresh, and as if you're coming from a pine forest. And I love all the resins and the tree oils because they're very grounding, number one, but they do have a beautiful fragrance, and they're incredibly soothing as well, especially to the emotions. So if you're wanting to make a blend, for example, to make a low toxin deodorant or something like that, the essential oils that blend really well with Siberian fir, of course, the other firs. So Douglas fir, for example, and then things like cypress, eucalyptus, lemon, marjoram, rosemary and lime, especially the citrus oils. For some reason, when you're combining the citrus oils with the Siberian fir, it's got that really beautiful sort of earthy, grounding, calming effect, but the uplifting benefit from the citrus oil. So it's a really good combination if you add those together. You'll also see that I posted a diffuser blend yesterday, very good with spices as well. So from yesterday's diffuser blend, for example, where I included the Siberian fir, the cedarwood and the clove that work really well together, try adding something like a wild orange or a lime to that. It's just going to uplift, and it's going to lift up that fragrance and just really have a beautiful smell in your home. Right, so another thing that the Siberian fir is very well known for is hormone balancing, and here specifically when we're looking at men. So it's got quite a manly smell, I've got to say. So definitely one that they're going to like. They're not going to think, oh my goodness, I smell like a pansy. It's definitely a beautiful essential oil fragrance-wise for men, but it's also incredibly good for the hormones that are involved in good prostate health. All right, so that's a very good one there. And because it moves you from feeling excluded to empowered. So in a sense, it helps you with forgiveness when we start looking at the mood side of this beautiful essential oil. You can understand why it's a really good one to have around to smell aromatically. And I think there's a lot of people that either, I cater very much for overachievers or high achievers because it's something that I associate with really well. Because I'm one of those recovering A-type personalities, always working crazy hours. I'm really dedicated to what I do. I get really passionate and I really love what I do. But we also do need to learn to switch off and to calm our brains down so that we actually can get a good night's rest. Okay, so definitely a really good oil to have around specifically for that, because it helps specifically also people that are, I'd say, perfectionists, for example, to forgive yourself when you haven't done something up to your own standards. And we know those standards can be ridiculous for a perfectionist, but definitely an essential oil that helps specifically in that arena as well. So beautiful for mood, and that's probably why I've used Siberian fir for quite a long time. Really beneficial. Oh, by the way, I've also used it quite effectively when I had a sore wrist. From yoga. I had like a ganglion that swelled up and wasn't very pleasant, and it definitely supported the discomfort that I was feeling, and obviously now it's completely healed. Don't have that issue anymore, but that was why I actually originally purchased Siberian firs, to assist my wrist, and obviously in the process I've learned about the oil quite a lot more, and it supported my mood very successfully. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of two very important points that I would like to bring out here about the health benefits. So the physical health benefits that this essential oil is going to bring out for you. So the first thing is there's been some clinical trials, human clinical trials in this case, where they tested people for the inhalation of bornyl acetate, which is obviously now the chemical constituent that's in the Siberian fir at a high concentration, and it induced relaxation of the autonomous nervous system. Now why this, or autonomous and autonomic there we go, nervous system, and why this is incredible for me, or why this study was incredible for me, is because it reduced the levels of arousal during and after visual display terminal work. Now this is one specifically I'm going to give a shout out to Shelly to, because both of us do work from home. We sit in front of our computers all day, and I think because of the environmental situation that's going on, there are a lot of people that aren't sitting in front of their computers, and that stimulation that you get, that arousal that you get from the blue light and from everything that's going on in your computer is usually something that very severely affects your sleep patterns. So if you are someone that teaches classes until late at night like I do, or you're working and you're tutoring and you, for example, have meetings until late at night, that computer screen is obviously not the best thing, and there are certain instances obviously where it would be beneficial to rather switch all your electronics off 2 hours before you go to bed to get that sleep routine going, the sleep hygiene. But in the cases where you can't, diffusing Siberian fir right next to you, definitely a good idea, because in this experimental model they obviously found that the inhalation reduced the levels of arousal specifically, and in another experimental model in a German study, hyperactivity. So German scientists found that bornyl acetate has calming effects and can help soothe an agitated nervous system. Now our nervous systems are completely agitated all the time when we're sitting in front of a computer. So definitely an essential oil that I guess you do need to get. If you don't have a tested grade oil and you would like to find out more, obviously you know where to come and find me. I'll definitely assist you with that. But definitely go for the Siberian Fir, especially in the diffuser behind you, if you are going to be doing quite a lot of electronic work during the day and you're scared you're not going to be switching off at night to get the good quality sleep. All right. Remember, synthetic bornyl acetate in the fake smelling candles versus the pure essential oil that is tested. Remember the enantiomer mirrors and go and watch the replay if you've only joined now. We do not want ourselves to be attracting insects, okay? Then another firm favorite for me that I found actually very exciting, because I'm all about gut health and skin health and mood, because everything is so connected in those scenarios, and those are things that that I've struggled with for most of my life, and obviously in the last couple of years going more plant-based and more natural, and trying to incorporate things where I don't necessarily need medication to support my body's symptoms, but in fact supporting my body to move it towards that healing itself. I've started using plant-based skin products, and then a couple of years ago I started making my own. I have a lot less skin reactions. I used to suffer quite a lot from eczema, agitation on my skin, those kind of scenarios, because I actually am quite sensitive to certain of the petrochemicals and other chemicals that they are putting into our skin creams and lotions and toners and things that we use on a regular basis. And in the process of switching, I've obviously now sort of devised this amazing recipe of essential oils that are really beneficial for my skin. So the things that are distract from our beauty, where we all feel a little bit insecure as women, fine lines and wrinkles and skin discolorations and those kind of things. And obviously I use frankincense quite effectively. It's one of those must-have oils for your skincare. And I also included vetiver lately, because I also discovered that skin discolorations actually fade with the use of vetiver. And that I've now shown with my own skin, so that's my own personal testimonial. But hey, guess what? I found a new oil that we're going to be adding to my skin cream and also to my spot treatment or my serum that I put on certain areas on my face. And it's going to be Siberian Fir, because there's actually, in the Japanese, especially Japanese skincare, there's a lot of research showing that tyrosinase, I don't know how people say it. I tend to say just tyrosinase, but I don't necessarily always know whether my expression or whether I'm pronouncing it right, because I am Afrikaans first language. It's just how it pops into my head, and that's what comes out of my mouth. But basically, this is the rate-limiting enzyme that is needed for the melanin production in your skin. So melanin, obviously, as we age, those spots become darker. So it is your skin protecting you against the sun, but the melanin actually becomes a darker shade, and obviously that's not, if you're wanting a nice even toned skin, that's something that's probably going to cause a little bit of concern. And this is by no means don't use any protection. Please use protection when you go into the sun, and also adhere to the certain days and the times in the day when it's going to be a little bit more damaging to your skin. We definitely need the sun. We need the vitamin D. This has been quite apparent during the environmental threat that's been going around. But basically, the Japanese, for example, use bornyl acetate products to lighten the skin. And it's because of that enzyme tyrosinase, which is very heavily involved in the melanin production. So I'm going to be adding a drop of Siberian Fir to my dollop of moisturizer in the morning, together with the frankincense and the vetiver, and see if that has any beneficial effect. I'm obviously someone that's been suffering from pigmentation and dark discoloration for most of my adult life due to hormone imbalancing. That has definitely improved over the last couple of years because I moved more natural. But every now and then I go and work in my vegetable garden, for example, for a quick couple of minutes, and I forget what time of day it is, and I forget to put on a natural sunscreen, and then there's a couple of dark spots on my face that go a little bit darker. So every now and then I've got to just up some of the essential oils that's going to lighten those marks again. And so far vetiver and frankincense have been incredible for me, but I definitely think that I'm going to be adding some Siberian Fir into that mix. All right, so those are the two top finds that I could say definitely be using the Siberian Fir at the moment. Putting in a diffuser when you're on a computer and definitely adding it to your skincare is going to have a really nice supportive effect in your body. All right, so those are the top things for Siberian Fir. And please, the mood conditions and the mood support you're going to get from Siberian Fir are absolutely incredible. It just really is calming, making yourself accepting to others as well as to yourself. So definitely a good essential oil to have in your arsenal, I'd say. I'm definitely going to be using a lot more. Beverly is asking about a natural sunscreen. So there are various brands available. I don't necessarily like to make my own sunscreen because I react to the zinc oxide that you can buy off the shelf. Probably because of impurities that are in there. So I would say definitely go and find yourself a very nice health shop, and I think play around. We're all biochemically different, so go and find a sunscreen, for example. Ask them if you can get a couple of little samples and just see what works the best for your specific skin type. Definitely the natural sunscreens or the natural lotions that you get with sunscreens in, they definitely have a lot more moisture, so they're a little bit more oily. They tend to sit on your skin, and for that reason you are going to have to go and find out which one is going to be working for your skin type, especially when you are going to be putting natural makeup over that, because obviously the natural makeup, because it doesn't have all the silicones and all the other chemicals in there, it's not going to stay fixed to your face for, I don't know, 72 hours or ridiculous whatever people want on their faces, I don't know. So just always check what's going to be working together with the rest of your products that you are using for your facial skincare every day. But Bev, I definitely don't make my own sunscreen. I have not found a zinc oxide that I don't react to. I tend to prefer products that have a titanium dioxide and a zinc oxide in them instead of the chemical ones that destroy the coral reefs. But it's definitely important that you go and find one that is working well for your skin. And then there's one extra freebie recipe that I'm going to throw out there right at the end. If you are all about decreasing the toxins like I am in my home, because obviously that's also a really good way to support your gut health, your immune system, then obviously you're going to start making your own home products with essential oils, because they have the benefit of being antibacterial, antifungal, antiseptic properties, for example. And this is a really good floor cleaner recipe that I came across. So here you can add some water. So I'd say about 1 liter to 2 liters of hot water. You can make that to 5 liters if you want to make up a big one. Then obviously you're just going to have to adjust the essential oils and the vinegar. So I'd say between 2 to 5 liters of hot water. And then you can add a half a cup, so between 1/4 and 1/2 cup of vinegar, and then also you can add to that lemon drops. Now lemon essential oil is a very powerful degreaser, right? So besides the antibacterial benefits that it's got, it's also really nice in degreasing your floors. Okay, so, and I know a lot of us need to do that, just dropping food or whatever it is that you're putting on the floor. So 12 drops of lemon essential oil, and if you don't want to do the lemon essential oil, you can always go for about 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And here, please try use the real ones, and just put it through a strainer so you don't get all the lemon cells in the juice water, in the vinegar water for your floor. Otherwise, you can have lemon sort of segments, little pieces on the floor. And then to that, add 8 drops of Siberian Fir. Now, the 8 drops of Siberian Fir, pine gel. Just keep that in the back of your mind. It's really good as an antiseptic model. So the Siberian Fir is also going to clean your floors really well. Very nice and antiseptic, and very good for the mood upliftment that you're going to get while you are washing your floors. All right, so there's a really nice recipe. If you can't remember what I just put in there, just go in the comments and write floor, and I'll send that recipe to you with the exact amount of drops and the exact amount of cups of vinegar, as well as lemon juice, for example. I'll pop that through to you in a direct message. Just go and put in the comments floor, and I can get that recipe to you. All right, so there we go. Roseanne Muller is asking about children that are not necessarily very good at focusing on a specific task for a long time, that may have a lot of extra energy. And definitely the Siberian Fir, I think, will probably work, but I'd probably combine it with other essential oils which we find are really beneficial for that specific support. And here, think about oils that include frankincense, for example, that are incredibly grounding, as well as cedarwood and vetiver. So I think a combination of those oils are definitely going to support, especially that health challenge that you just mentioned there. Thank you so much for that. I can see there's a lot of comments coming through for the floor. I'll get that recipe to you all very shortly. And then I'm going to say thank you. Today was a little bit of a longer one. I also started late due to some technicality issues with the internet, the interwebs, but I'm glad I got online, only 5 minutes late. So yes, today was about Siberian Fir. Go and get some. If you don't have some, connect with me so I can get you some. because it really is an incredibly powerful essential oil to have around. And surely now you know why you're starting to love it so much, because you're working in front of the computer so often. Yes, so I hope to see you all again next week, Thursday, for my next Botanically Live, an alchemy of soothing botanic ingredients. So this is Tanya Uester, Dr. T, and I'll see you all again next week. Cheerio. Bye-bye.